Okay, let's talk about creatine gummies. You've seen them everywhere, right? They're promising all the power of the world's most proven supplement, but in a form that's basically candy. It sounds amazing, maybe a little too amazing. So today, we're going to find out if it's for real. Let's get into the real story behind all the hype.
You know the grind. The workouts are tough, the meal prep is a chore, building muscles just plain hard work. So the idea that you could make just one part of that whole process easier, well, that's incredibly appealing. And that's really the core promise of Creatine Gummies. Serious, science-backed results without any of the usual hassle.
So before we can really understand the gummies, we have to talk about what's inside them. Let's just do a quick, super fast recap of what creatine actually does for your body, based on, decades of rock-solid science.
Check out that number, 1.8 kilos. That's nearly 4 pounds of extra lean muscle. A big 2024 study found that people taking creatine while training gained that much more lean mass over just 12 weeks compared to people who didn't. That is a massive, measurable difference you can actually see. And it's not just about getting bigger, it's about getting stronger. We're talking a 5 to 15% jump in your max strength and power. To put that in perspective, if you're benching, say, 80 kilos, that's like adding another 4 to 12 kilos to your lift in the same amount of time. That's the kind of progress you can really feel.
So how on earth does it work? Well, creatine isn't some kind of stimulant. The best way to think of it is like a backup battery for your muscle cells. It helps you rapidly regenerate something called ATP, which is the main fuel for those quick, explosive movements. In plain English, it means you can push out those last couple of reps, the really important ones for growth, that you'd normally fail on.
Okay, so we've established creatine works, but honestly, that's old news. We've known that for years. The real question is, why are gummies suddenly the next big thing? Well, it all comes down to one really simple, really human factor.
I mean, come on. How many of us can relate to this quote? The best, most effective supplement on the planet is completely useless if you don't actually take it. The number one reason people don't get results has always been consistency, and that is the exact problem that gummies were made to solve.
Just look at the difference here. On one side, you've got the whole powder ritual. Find the tub, find a clean shaker, measure out the powder, mix it, chug it, and then, you gotta clean that gritty shaker bottle. And on the other side, you grab a few gummies and chew. Let's be real, the path of least resistance is gonna win almost every time.
And you know what? The data completely backs this up. Studies show that people who use gummy supplements are 23 to 31% more likely to stick with it. It's just simple psychology. We are way more likely to keep doing habits that we actually enjoy. And over the weeks and months it takes for creatine to really work its magic, that difference in consistency, it's everything.
But all that convenience, it actually created a brand new problem. As the market for these things just exploded, the supplement industry was about to get a huge reality check, and it would change everything for creatine gummies. It all went down in late 2025. That's when independent testers, a lot of them driven by fitness influencers and consumer watchdogs, started to really pull back the curtain on what was actually inside some of these super popular products. And the results were, well, they were shocking. People were paying top dollar for products that were missing 30, 50, even 70% of the main ingredient. It was a massive betrayal of trust. It meant thousands of people were working their tails off in the gym and not getting any of the benefits they paid for.
Now, it's really important to understand that this wasn't always companies trying to rip people off. See, making a good, stable creatine gummy is actually really hard from a technical standpoint. The process involves heat and moisture, and both of those things can easily destroy the creatine if your quality control isn't absolutely perfect. This is exactly why a promise on a label just isn't good enough anymore.
So that whole wake-up call, as bad as it was, it forced the industry to get better. And for you, as a customer, it means you now have the tools to see past all this lick marketing. So let's talk about how to spot a product that's actually legit.
This whole situation led to a new gold standard for anyone buying supplements, a simple 4-step quality checklist. In today's market, this is absolutely non-negotiable if you want to make sure you're actually getting what you paid for.
All right, here it is. First, you need to find the Certificate of Analysis, or COA, right on the company's website. Second, look for those trusted third-party seals, like NSF Certified for Sport. Third, and this is crucial, match the batch number on your bottle to the number on the report online. And fourth, make sure the product is made in a GMP, that's Good Manufacturing Practice certified facility. Seriously, if a brand can't show you all of this, just walk away.
Okay, so you've done your homework. You found a quality, verified product. Now what? The final piece of the puzzle is knowing how to actually use it to get the results you're chasing.
It really comes down to 4 key pillars. You need the right daily dose. That's usually 3 to 5 grams. You have to stay hydrated because creatine pulls water into your muscles. You need to think about timing, or do you? And most importantly, you need that thing we keep talking about, consistency.
Okay, let's bust a huge myth right now. People argue endlessly online. Should I take it before my workout or after? You know what the science says? It doesn't really matter that much. What really matters is that you take it every single day. And yes, that includes your rest days. Creatine works by building up and keeping your muscle stores full, and that only happens with daily, consistent use.
Now, while creatine is great for most people, some groups see even more amazing results. Vegetarians and vegans, for example, often see huge improvements because they don't get creatine from meat. It's also fantastic for people over 40 to help fight off age-related muscle loss. And of course, if you're a power athlete, think sprinters, lifters, crossfitters, you are right in creatine's sweet spot.
You've probably also heard claims about creatine being a brain booster. And look, there are some really promising early studies on that, especially when it comes to things like mental fatigue. But the evidence just isn't strong enough yet for any official health claims. So for now, focus on what we know is proven, the physical benefits. If you feel a mental boost, hey, consider it a potential bonus.
So let's bring this all home. What's the takeaway? The benefits of creatine are absolutely real, backed by a mountain of research. The gummy form makes it way easier to be consistent, which, as we've said, is the real key to results. But, and this is the big but, none of that matters if the creatine isn't actually in the gummy. That's why that third-party verification isn't just nice to have, it's non-negotiable.
At the end of the day, any supplement is just a tool. It's there to amplify the hard work you're already putting in. So now you know the science, and you know how to find a product you can trust. The only question left is the important one. That extra strength, those extra reps, what are you gonna do with them?